89.9 Light FM with Clayton taking you through this morning. And my guest on One is Cromwell Awadi.
Yes, Cromwell Awadi.
Awadi. Oh, gee. I've practiced about 3 times with Cromwell off air, but I still didn't quite get it right as we started. From International Needs in Ghana, on your very first visit to Australia as well. So welcome to our country. Thanks so much for having a chat to us.
Thank you very much, and then good morning to your listeners.
Thanks so much, Cromwell. Now, Cromwell speaks, I think, like 3 languages, so I'm glad that you're sticking to English. Thank you for that today, Cromwell. Let's talk a bit about your heart and passion for change in your own country, in Ghana and indeed around various parts. You've had a big heart for caring for others for a long time. As I look back through what you've done over the past few years, you've always had that heart to be searching out for others. Where does that heart come from?
Well, I think that we've been created in the image of God, and we are out there to make a difference. And that's where the passion comes from, to go out there and make a difference in our generation. Yeah,
you're here in Australia to talk about the program that International Needs is running, which is about getting children out of sexual exploitation. Give us a bit of a background of an understanding of sexual exploitation in Ghana, because there's actually a very cultural aspect to this that goes back years and years and years and years, doesn't it?
Yeah, the background to this is twofold. One is the cultural aspect, and the other one is the poverty aspect in the cities. The cultural aspects, International Needs had been involved with funding from AusAid and then International Needs Australia to liberate women from the trokosi practice. 3,500 women were liberated over a 12-year period from a practice that takes young virgin girls into shrines. As payment for offenses committed by the relatives of these children. And
so
then
paying back debts, effectively.
It's debt bondage, kind of. And that phase ended. The phase we are on now is in the city. The cultural aspect is mainly in the rural areas. Now in the capital city, as a result of poverty, streetism, and other challenges with urban life, we have children who are exploited sexually, in kind and in cash. And that is the focus of this project.
Is it the parents that are doing this, or is it the fact that the child maybe finds themselves in poverty themselves and someone's taking them into their home and is exploiting them? How is the exploitation actually happening? Who is responsible, I suppose?
The dynamics differ. We have the parents looking on because they are poor. We have traffickers taking advantage of the vulnerability of the children. We have other children who are, as a result of peer pressure, luring the victims into the practice. But in all cases, the child is not able to make an informed choice. So somebody needs to speak for this child or these children. And that's what we are doing.
Do you have an estimate of how many children find themselves in this sort of situation in Ghana?
It's been very tricky with the numbers. When you talk about child labor in general in Ghana, we have over 1 million people in child labor.
Oh boy!
But when it comes to commercial sex, the numbers keep changing. Some put it at 30,000 plus. Others put it way below it. It's been very difficult to determine the actual numbers. But it is in the tens of thousands.
One is too many, let alone tens of thousands. Absolutely. As you've spent a lot of time in Ghana. You're the head of International Needs in Ghana, Cromwell. What do you say is the path forward to get them out of this? Is it, we're going to talk about the fact that people can support monthly in a couple of minutes' time and talk about some of the options and those sorts of things. But how do you actually go about getting a child out of sexual exploitation? What's the process?
As you indicated, one is too many. The pathway is, let's get everybody that we can, informed about the challenges and the consequences of this practice on the child, on the family of the child, on the community, and on the nation. If that understanding and that knowledge is acquired, we are able to mobilize them, and that's what we do in Accra. So we're mobilizing people who begin to speak and advocate against the practice or the use of children in commercial sex. And then we do the identification of these children with the community members that we have trained. when we do that, then we screen them and provide rehabilitation services in the form of counseling, one-on-one counseling for psychosocial issues. And then we also place them in schools, back to school. Those who cannot go back to school, we place them in skills training, and we support them through the training and the education. And that's what we are doing. And we are engaging also with faith-based organizations, the Muslims Council, the Christian Council, the Pentecostal Council, and then the local politicians, the reps of the communities at the district council level. So we are engaging all partners and then when we get the children also, we're providing screening for HIV and AIDS to be sure that should any of them be infected, early detection can result in prolonging their lives.
I love the fact that you've taken an approach which seems to tick off all the bases. Tick all the boxes as you go through to actually aim to change the culture there in terms of talking about it, making it not okay to be doing this in the culture, and then on top of that, not just putting them back in school and making sure they're fed, but like you said, that the one-on-one counselling. There's a big expense that's involved in that, but it's oh so important, isn't it, for a child to have that? Because, there's going to be so much for them to work through if they've been exploited sexually.
Yes, one-on-one counseling is very helpful. It is then that we unearth the real stories of the child, each person, and then the challenges that they go through. We also provide the same counseling for the parents of the children. In addition to the counseling for the parents or the caregivers, we are linking them to economic opportunities, because obviously some are very poor, and because they are poor, they cannot take full control for the upkeep of their children. So we're linking them up to economic opportunities so that if their income levels improve, it can rub onto their children and the younger ones too.
As well, not just the one that we've been talking about. And I suppose that stops that aspect of. I was about to ask the question. Well, how do you not? A parent might allow the child to go to school and have a bit of counselling, but then next month suddenly say, well, actually, we want a bit more money again. Let's send them back out to be sexually exploited. But if they've got economic opportunities coming in, they don't need to do that, do they?
Yes, we to avoid a relapse. Or the cases of children returning to commercial sex. That's why we try to make it as sustainable as practicable, working with the faith-based organization. You agree with me that they are responsible for, building the moral fiber of society. So if we engage them, they are playing their role. The politicians at the local level, they make the laws, the bylaws, the local bylaws. If they are doing their part, and then the parents we engage are also doing their part, we are doing our part, following up and providing support. We are hopeful that will stop that element of it.
That's great. This program's been up and running full time since the middle of last year.
Yes.
How many children and families have you been able to actually reach just even in that short time?
Well, we have reached just about 50 of them so far.
Wow.
Because
I was expecting you to say 5 or something like that. So.
No, we've been doing a lot more engagement in this early phase. Because if we are done with the engagement, then the takeoff becomes smoother.
Sure.
So it's more of engagement.
Okay.
Yes. And as we started encountering the children, the stories that are coming up are heart-rendering. There's a little girl of just 17 years. She's given birth twice already within the space of 3 years, and to 2 different men. She does not know the fathers of these children. So the question is, what is the future of these 2 children? She's out of school. She's not employed. There's no social protection, programs that she can be hooked onto from government. So she's still exposed and still vulnerable to any other man who may come.
And not least to say, she's trying to then look after 2 kids.
Yes.
Who are then most probably going to be in the same cycle if we don't do something about it.
Yes. There's also another case we encountered. The girl comes over to school. The parents do not give her enough for school. We have what we call extra classes in Ghana. So she pays a little for extra classes and has nothing to live on for lunch. And she tells us that she runs to men frequently to get money. And when they sleep with her, they give her 2 cedis, a little over $1. The US dollar and the Australian dollar, I think they are almost equivalent. A little over $1, is given to her. And that's why we call it exploitation.
Yeah, of course.
Because nobody will go to a full-fledged adult commercial sex worker and pay a little over $1.
Yeah.
But they are taking advantage of the vulnerability of the children.
Yeah, and a child who doesn't doesn't think through what that exactly means. They're just saying, I need to eat, and this is what's going to happen. Yeah.
Yes.
We've got to stop this. We don't think there's going to be any person who's listening who disagrees with that as well. What can people do? You're here in Australia, you're raising awareness. What can people actually do to make a difference to what's happening?
Everyone can make a difference in his or her small way. International Needs Australia, through OZID, is sponsoring this, is funding this program. And when you get to the website of International Needs Australia, there's a lot of information there that you can partner this project with. You can also make a donation to sponsor a child with 39 Australian dollars. And a lot more information. If you want to get a whole package, is $99 to support. But when you get to the International Needs Australia website, there's a host of information, because in addition to this, we do child sponsorship, which provides basic education to children.
Yeah.
And then we are also asserting the rights of women through a women empowerment project. So there is a lot of information on the website that can help every individual, depending on your choice, to make a decision to be a part of this great move.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, I think the summary is there's options for monthly support, once-off support, whole group support. There's something you can do. Yes. I think that's it right now. That's
whoever you are, there's something you can do. You will find your choice.
And especially when you go, well, maybe $50 right now it's a bit for me. But just think about what that could do to somebody's life, change somebody's life around. It's certainly worth $50 to get on it and help out. What we're going to do is have all the details to get through that international needs and the page and all the details on our website, along with this podcast, which will be up there in 60 seconds from now. You'll be able to listen to this story again from Cromwell, as well as all those details on how you can help at lightfm.com.au. We'll put it all in one place for you, lightfm.com.au. You'll be able to click through and find all those details. Cromwell, thank you for coming in. Thanks for making a difference in the lives of kids and families in Ghana. We wish you all the best. God bless you, and we hope that a whole lot of people support you. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Cromwell Awadi, I think I got the name probably. I got it right. See, even that. It's taken me all this time, but I did get it right at the end. My guest on One-on-One from International Needs in Ghana. That website again, lightfm.com.au.